The natural way is not to stick your kids in a building 6 hours a day and let somebody else fill their heads full of whatever they're going to fill them full. Yeah. So,
which is becoming more and more dangerous.
It's becoming more and more dangerous. In fact, I was just talking to our contractor down in Oregon City, and he was saying that his oldest granddaughter, his son works for him down there, and their oldest daughter's going into kindergarten next year. So they had already determined it can't be public school kindergarten. That's too crazy. So they got on the internet to look at alternative kindergartens, charter schools and stuff. It's all the same. It's all talking about race issues and gender issues
in kindergarten.
They just openly put it right there in their thing. This is what we're going to be teaching your kids in kindergarten.
It's good that they have it right up front.
Yeah, at least
so you can know what you're choosing or not choosing.
But I just this is my crusade.
This is like they should be learning colors and shapes and how to
bugs
share or like
bugs. You know, flowers, something else.
You know, besides twinkle twinkle little star. Those kind of things.
Yeah, it's insane what's going on for sure. So what are your expectations then for, the future, or what do you feel like tell me about some of your successes right now that you feel like is the biggest. I mean, I don't mean to sound like we compare ourselves a lot to other people, but it's hard not to. And what are you seeing in your family that's just amazing, that you feel like is just amazing?
Well, Dylan's 12 now, and he's starting to transition into being a scholar, which is a pleasure to watch. And just to warn people who are comparing, Dylan's an old soul. So, I wouldn't expect
back up.
Anybody else with a 12-year-old to be doing this.
So back up. I mean, okay, my kids never were very literary. So we never did scholar phase, really. I mean, they had their interests, and they got very into their interests. And maybe going to community college at 15 is scholar phase. I don't know what that is, because that's where they all gravitated. They just, my kids were so independent. It was like, and I guess that's just genetic in our family. A little bit. It's like...
Do you mean stubborn?
It's like stubborn, but it's also like I don't want anybody else to tell me what I'm going to be learning. They really wanted to get away from me telling them what they should be learning next. And they wanted to go pick from, the smorgasbord at Mount Hood Community College of the things they wanted to learn. They just wanted to set their own goals and not have me telling them what it was.
Yeah.
And I was okay with that.
Yeah.
And we had great discussions about the crazy things they were learning there sometimes. But I was very gratified that they were bringing these questions to me in their religion classes, or, history classes, or political science classes, or any of the other humanities, and saying, what do you think of this? And I'm writing this paper, and we talk about it, That was super fun. That's one of the reasons I love those years, because I would have loved to have done the great books with them.
Having conversations about great ideas.
But just at least having conversations, great ideas, that was good. And I didn't have to help them. By the time they went into community college at 15, they could write their own papers at a college level. And we hadn't done tons of writing, but we'd done good reading, we'd done some writing, they'd done reports, they'd done all that. So it wasn't hard for them to, learn.
And I would say, really at that age, it's the thinking skill.
Right.
And being able to think, and then can you get those thoughts down on paper? And so if they've been having discussions with parents about what they think is important or something they've read, then they're going to have good thinking skills.
Right. And that's the key, isn't it? That's a lot of the key. Okay, so that's a pleasure for you to watch Dylan as an old soul at 12 go into the scholar phase. Tell us what that means, though. What is the scholar phase?
It means he's choosing to use more of his leisure time for learning rather than playing. But it still looks a lot like playing, so you have to know what you're looking for.
Okay.
So he's spending time every day learning and practicing the bow staff, or learning about ancient weapons, and then designing them, and then making them,
Wow.
and then practicing with them. You know?
Like pretending to fight with them and stuff.
Yeah. So today, let's see, I can't even remember, it's not an English word, this ancient weapon. Trunfla, that's not what it's called. I can't remember what it's called. but it's like you have a handle, and then the stick goes down your arm and it sticks out a little bit, and you have one in each hand. And he's designed them and made them, and with like wood and saws, and
Wow.
made pegs to hold it all together instead of like nails and wood
Yeah.
glue. He like made pegs.
Wow.
And he shows us, okay, you can punch it, or you can like whip it out and then the long end comes out, or you can put it back and you can use it for blocking. And he's
Wow.
showing me all this stuff about an ancient weapon I can't even pronounce. And he's made his own.
Wow.
And then he's also practicing the piano. And that's important to him, and he won't follow the
Yeah.
books, but he'll hear a song that he likes, and we'll work together to find an arrangement that's at his level, and he works his tail off
Right.
to learn this song that's well above his level but is important to him.
Right. So one of the things I want to emphasize in what you're talking about is that you are not choosing goals for him. He's choosing his own goals, which is like mind-blowing to even most homeschoolers. Okay. I recently joined about 8 different homeschooling groups on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Charlotte Mason, Outschooling, yeah, like a whole bunch of them, just to see what the chatter was. And I don't see anywhere on there anybody saying, it's all, I have a son in 4th grade and a son in 6th grade, and I can't get them to do their math in this curriculum,
I will tell
Does
you.
anybody find a better curriculum for such and such,
I've had that conversation with Dylan, and he's taking very long breaks from math. And then I'll bring up, or maybe he will, he understands this is a skill that he's going to need. But it's hard for him. It doesn't come naturally to him, and so he doesn't really want to spend time on it. And I said, probably you really need to learn your multiplication facts. All the rest of math is going to be easier if you are really good at your multiplication facts. And he was 11 at the time, and he still, he understood them and he could figure them out, but he didn't know them.
Yeah.
And at some point, it wasn't like, this is something I love doing and I want to do it. It was, I can see that this is important, therefore I'm going to spend 5 minutes.
Right.
I think it was 5 minutes a day. We found him like a musical thing to do, and we found some board games that did multiplication. And that's the only math he's been doing for the last 6 months, probably. It's just practicing his multiplication facts. And that's like the one, Mom suggested this, and is sneaking it in there. And everything else he chooses.
Right, but you didn't make him do it. You suggested.
Yeah.
You suggested. Early on, as far as math, I probably told you this before, but with our family, I felt I had math guru. I had high math aptitude kids because John's an accountant. He's got a running calculator in his head. Okay, and so the boys were all Jesse was really good at math. Drew couldn't do math to save his life, and then Maddie, as interesting as that is, being as good at music, she couldn't do math either. But I was good at music and I could never do math, so I understood that perfectly. But because I had 4 of my 6 that were really good at math and liked it, we always did math. We always just sat down and did 30 minutes of math. That was the first thing we did every day after reading in our journals and reading scriptures. We'd just sit down, set a timer, 30 minutes. And it was fun for them. They liked, except for Maddie. Maddie always felt like, she was this big dummy because all of her brothers were just racing through their math books. She could not get it. She could never get her math lesson done in 30 minutes. And except I think it turned into a really great life lesson for her and for the boys. because I would always just say, yep, you're not going to be good at everything. You know, there are some skills that you're going to have to struggle with.
Yep.
And your brothers are struggling with some other stuff that you're not. So stop comparing yourself. Don't be a victim. Just accept this is what it is and do your best. You know, you didn't finish a lesson today, pick it up tomorrow. There's no time limits on this. And of course she got the minimum number of math classes that she had to do for her degree, and she was just having a big party when she never ever had to do math again. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But the other guys, of course, they've all gone on to math related, you know, business and science stuff. So they needed that. And I never felt bad about saying, setting a timer first thing in the morning, 30 minutes, get your math done. It's Saxon math, it's nothing fancy. It's just rote, it's memorizing. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division is all the basis of it. But that doesn't work for everybody. And there's got to be a million different math curriculums out there now. And it doesn't have to be that complicated, really. But you do have to have a understanding of where you think your kids are going, I think.